Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Season 2, Episode 9. First thing as always, thank you to those of you that have subscribed to my channel. If you are new, names will go up over here. And thank you to those of you that have been following and supporting me on the forum. Recognition goes up over here. Now, before I get into this video, I have one notification. So February has come and gone quickly. Yes, it is the shortest month. So this month I have changed my fitness. So Monday to Friday, I will always be doing some basic weight training and core exercises. Tuesday to Friday, I'm still doing my cardio, but every month I will slightly increase it, and I will talk more about that in March. But let's get into the main part, the video. Now, recently Yes? Yeah, that's me, Gamble. I've got a package. You need me to sign for it? Okay, bear with me 1 second, people. Nice! Check out this care package. So, what's going to happen in this video is I'm going to be talking about this particular model. So, lock and load. Before I start this video, I want to thank Honey Badger. Really appreciate the fact you let me borrow this Rif for this video today. Fingers crossed, hopefully I'll do a good review, and hopefully the rest of you that are watching this will enjoy it. Now, I have a few accessories here on the table, and you're probably thinking, why are there two Rifs here? Well, it's quite simple. This is my AKM ENL. Yes, I do mention it a lot, and it is in my other videos. If you haven't seen them, check them out. So I've got a few things here, accessories as well for my AK to compare with this Rif here, and a few other accessories. There's a few more, which you'll see in different shots. And what I'm going to be reviewing in this video today, again trying to be unique, different, there's a lot of reviews out there on YouTube, is the HK33 SG1 by Classic Army. Now, very interesting, okay, I will try and do my best on this. If I get things wrong, or forget things, please put your answers in the comments down below. I'm not a history expert, though I do like my history. I'm not a weapons expert, but I do like to study weapons as well. So yeah, what I want to mention is this, okay? When you go to a field, okay, doesn't matter where you are on the planet, or depending which site you go to, the most common Rifs you'll see, and this is from my own opinions and experience again, and yes, I haven't travelled that far, but still, I see a lot of M4s, some AKs, a lot of G36Cs, but this one, again, is not an often seen one on the field. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other variations and models of this type, okay, that you may see, but again, it's not often seen in the UK. Like I said before, depending on which site you go to, you might see a lot of these versions. But it's always nice when the fields are open to see something different, something that's not often seen, and that depends whether it's a woodland or a CQB site. So it's always good to try and mix it up, be different. And what I want to do is cover a few things in this review. I will do my very best, okay? And yeah, let's start off with one of my favourites, a smock test. And you're probably thinking, what's that? Now, if you haven't seen my videos from last year, check them out. I did this particular, I can't remember which video it was, but I highly recommend the smocks, okay? It doesn't matter if it's DPM, woodland or desert, okay? Because if you haven't got a tactical vest, a plate carrier, chest rig of any description, this is a great choice, and I'll show you why. Now, I've got two mags here. This one is for the HK33, the Rif that you see here. This one is for the G3A3/4 model, and you'll see in the video why. Now, this one can fit in the middle pocket. I'd say you could get 3, 4, pushing it maybe. Top pocket, you could get 2 in there, maybe get 3. Bottom pocket, 2 maybe, 3, for push it maybe beyond 4. It does help if you have more mags, then you can see more. Now I have 2 of these. Okay, now these both go for this model. So middle pocket. Okay, yeah, I'd say you could get 3, 4, push it maybe, but 4. Top pocket, you can double stack, like so. You can only get 2 in, but if you put them side by side, which I'm about to do, then you can fit a 3rd one in there. So consider that. Bottom pocket, double stack. I'd say, pocket out of the way, you can get 4 in there, 5, push it maybe, maximum 5. So as you can see there, that was just a simple smock test, and I like testing out the smock with any mag that you can get in the airsoft community, because there are going to be certain mags that won't fit in the DPM, that's a fact, but it's always quite interesting to see out of all of them how many will. So that was the first thing, so let's move on to the next part. So before I get into this next part, I want to say this to Honey Badger: if anything goes wrong, I am definitely prepared to compensate you, and I want this on video as well. It's very important, okay, beginners or advanced players, if you've got a friend that lets you borrow the Rif on the day, make sure you thank them, make sure you look after it, and above all, you verbally, or you can write it down in a contract, agree to compensate them for whatever reason, whether internally or externally something breaks, and that's a great sign of respect. And that's what we're looking for in the airsoft community, especially if you've got friends with a Rif collection. So again, look after them. So let me give you a little background story. The AK that you see in front of you, I used on the day, and this was back in 2018 when we pretty much both went to Red Alert. We moved away from the bad site that will not be spoken about in this video today. And what happened is the AK was doing okay for the first few rounds from what my memory remembers, and then it just didn't fire at all properly. I was really concerned. I had the M1911 and Mac 10 with me on the day, but Honey Badger was very kind enough to let me borrow the Classic Army HK33 that you see in this video today. Now, I did find out at the end when I got my good friend Sneaky to check my AK. Thankfully it was just the barrel, it needed a good clean, and obviously he lubed up the mags just to make sure it was feeding properly. There was nothing internally or externally wrong, just a good barrel clean. So using the HK33 on the day, it was very windy, and I was using 2.8s for this HK33, and I was quite surprised how reliable this was and how accurate it was, hitting targets further than I expected. Also, I will show pictures and videos in this video, like I mentioned earlier, so you'll see them in and out of certain scenes. Now, the battery for this, and I was told by Honey Badger, 7.4s will work on full auto, but not semi, so you need to go for 8.4 higher. So this is the 8.4 battery that I used. I'll put the details, hopefully get in focus here. And I plan on using this for my SVD, fingers crossed when I get the chance, for my first time DMRing. It does fit in the back of the stock, that's where the battery goes. It wasn't the easiest battery to get in there, I only managed to just get it in. I highly recommend if you get an 8.4, get the smaller version, so it's easier to fit. And I've been told by Honey Badger that this can go all the way up to an 11 volt battery. And he also said that this hasn't been upgraded. So, what's going to happen now is I'm going to show you a few differences between the Rifs. So, let's have a bit of fun. Now, as you can see, this is my AK. Okay, the selector switch is on the right hand side. You've got full auto, you've got semi, you've got your hop up in here. So hopefully that'll hold. Hopefully you can see that. That particular part there, the red part, is the hop up. And that's all on the right hand side. If you look at the HK33, this particular model doesn't have it on the right hand side. It in fact has it on the left hand side. Okay, you've got safe, you've got semi, and you've got full auto. I'll show you this quickly. Now, he's had this in his collection for a few years now. It has been obviously worn and torn and showing signs. So the butt plate, you slide down and pull off. Okay, that's where you put the battery in. Now, you would do the same in reverse, but because of an accident that happened, I think it was last year, it just pulls off. So if you do have this problem, you've got to find the parts to replace it. Some parts will be easier than others, depending, again, on makes, or you could just simply put some duct tape on there and give it an apocalyptic look. Now, also, before I go any further, hopefully you can see this. I believe this is for a comms button. If you've seen the TV series Ultimate Force, they would use these in certain episodes, and they would always have a button attachment here when they're communicating with their group, their team. So if I am wrong, I do apologise, but that's what I've seen so far. You've got the charging handle here, which does lock in place. And here's the interesting part, the hop-up is on the other side here, and hopefully get that into focus. You should see that it is different to the AK. Now, you're probably thinking, can you do the typical thing with the HK33? And you can do it with both hands. So for right-handed, you can do the simple pull-up. You can do this. If you're left-handed, okay, you come over the top. If you try to go under, it takes a little bit more, but it can be done. So let's go back. But you're also thinking, because the only function is to get up, well, to get to the hop-up, should I say, sorry. But you're probably thinking, can you do the typical HK slap? Well, let's find out, shall we? Oh, that's satisfying. So you can do it from the top, you can do from under. I won't do it anymore, but that is satisfying. Also, if you can't see, I'll try and get this into focus. He's put a little bit of customized colour there, white for the iron sight. You've got 4 settings here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, back to 1. Do they serve a purpose? Maybe for the real thing, but for airsoft, that doesn't really matter. Your sling points, there's one here, so both on the left-hand side. Very important as well, if you get a sling, this sling, I don't know, looks a bit complicated, but hey. You can go for the tactical slings if you want to, or you could go for a good old classic leather sling. What else can I talk about? Put it down for a bit. So, move that out of the way as well. When it comes to the AK, it is heavier than the classic Army HK33, and I think the only thing left to do is to show you the mags and a few little additions. A comparison between the two mags, in fact, actually. So here we go. So with the AK, hopefully you can see this. I'll try and keep my hand up. So you've got to rock it in to lock it. There you go. Also termed banana clip, if you want to call it that. So same again. You've got to find hook in. Now, for those of you that are concerned, no, there are no batteries in both Rifs, and there are no BBs, so I'll show you quickly. Even on full auto, see, with the HK, semi, here we go, full auto. Now, with this particular mag, which I showed you earlier, this is not for this model, okay? If you want proof, here's proof. Too big. Same from this angle, hopefully you can see. So, make sure you get the right model if you want to use these mags, okay? That's inside. Now, these mags are the ones that go with this. And the interesting thing about this one is, to me, it's like a hybrid, and this is my own opinion, between an M4 and an AK mag. So, I'm going to show you, and I'll be honest, with this particular model, you have to obviously get used to it, and sooner or later you get better at tactical reloading. So here we go. So line up, hopefully you can see this. So, and then rock back slightly. Good, that's in position. If you get the angle slightly wrong, which I'm going to do deliberately here, too far like an AK, it won't fit. If you go too far forwards, it won't fit, so you have to line up. So where this is here, and then just simply rock back like so, and it should fall into place. I'll make sure, just again, let's do it with this one. You also might find certain mags are easier to work with than others. So, I think that's in.
Eventually.
Apologies there. As you can see, these mags sometimes are not the easiest to load, and depending on the situation on the airsoft fields, if you've got time, that's great. If you're under fire, or even in the middle of a firefight and you've got to try and load these things, like I said, practice comes in handy, so just bear that in mind. So I will give it one last attempt to put a mag in properly. Fingers crossed. Here we go. First time's the charm, so here we go. Hey! I can do it. I'm not that incompetent. So, nice good feel. They're not loose or wobbly, which is fantastic. There are two ways to take out the mag. As you see here, kind of like the AK here as well. So, I want to show you this actually, whether being left-handed, okay? If you want to use the select switch, because I am left-handed, you can do this. Again, not easy with the finger. You could easily bring the thumb around. Being right-handed, again, I'll come over to the other side to show you this, make it easier being right-handed. So from here, easy enough. So it can be used by both sides, left-handed, right-handed. If you're right-handed, okay, very important, it's easy enough to use this motion here. And if you see, hopefully, from this angle here, getting a little close up, you should be able to see this part here. When you loosen it, there we go. I do apologise if you can't see it. So for right-handers, please go in properly. Hey, I'm getting better at this. So for right-handers, this is great. There is a second option here, and for right-handers, you can do this. There is a button here. Now you're probably thinking, can you reach the button? Well, that depends. So I'm going to come back onto the other side now. So for a right-hander, you can actually reach this. Again, it depends on your hand size. So you can use this, but you also, that's the difficult part. You have to lean further to get it out. So it's not the easiest choice. If you've got bigger hands, then fair enough. If you're left-handed, it's actually a lot easier to use the button, so I'll demonstrate. Please go in. I've been doing well so far. Hey! So from here, I can easily, like you've seen before, reach this thumb release here. But for me being left-handed, getting to that button is a lot easier than a right-hander. Again, more practice, your choice, your preference. So, the last thing, I'm going to move these mags out of the way. Come on, one more time, we'll put one in just for the hell of it. Come on. So, yeah, like you see, I'm getting better. Now, I have my G3 bayonet here. These things are not easy to come across. Like I said, these things can be expensive, and if you're like me and enjoy a bayonet, especially on the airsoft field, when you get the chance, go for it. Now, with the AK, hopefully you can see this, the bayonet. Now, I know this is not the AK bayonet. I do have an AK bayonet, but I haven't got it for this video because I'm using it for something else at the moment, which you'll see later on in one of my other videos. So, that's where the normal AK bayonet would go. And when it comes to bayonets, most will always go underneath. There are a few that will go to the side. Again, depending on makes and models, whenever they were built. Some are foldable bayonets, and like I said, for airsoft, they've got to be flexible, okay? And this is one of the few, the HK33 line, as well as the rest of the G3 line, where the bayonet actually goes over the barrel on top. Sorry, I'm just trying to get... Now you're probably thinking, well, it's not on properly, and there's a reason behind that. But this is just to give you an idea of reference, okay? Now, turn it towards the camera, charge, hopefully you can see that. But here's the important part. This is solid, welded to the Rif. Here, hopefully you can see it. So you can't take this out to put this in properly, which is a downside, but again, back then they probably weren't thinking about rubber bayonets. And the interesting thing is, I found out You can, if you want to, hopefully you can see this, you could possibly cut this off and then attach it and make sure you have some Velcro tape. I usually have that with my AK, very good choice to have for bayonets. I have found out that with the LCT models, you can actually fit this bayonet and you can actually fit the legit G3 bayonet. So that is a good option for you. So I highly recommend LCT if you want to fit one of these, or you can buy one and just cut it down. Again, preference. And that's it really for these two Rifs. So I'm going to take this one out of the way now. Just to the side. Show it lined up here. And yeah, look at it. It's not bad at all, is it? But for those of you that like the bayonet attachment, give you again some reference. There you go. So if you see a bayonet on top of this, again, a very rare sight, but as you can see, it will get the job done if you get close to the enemy on the field. And yeah, what I'm going to do now is I will show you a video comparing the sizes of the AK and the HK33 and a few options that you may want to consider if you get this model. So here are the options quickly. I've gathered a few of my accessories just to show you, and these mags are pretty universal. Obviously, like all things, some will fit easier than others, some won't fit at all. So here we go. Standard tactical vest. This kind of can go in here, but it's not the best, not designed for it. You can fit one in here. You can actually double stack, but it's a lot harder. Again, it depends on the quality of the vest. So there's one option. That to the side. The next thing, again, two surplus here. If you have a PLCE webbing, you can put these in easily enough. You can have it upside down if you want to. You can also fit these in, like so, or upside down. You can definitely fit 3 of these in here. 2, yes, 3, maybe not for this one. So again, considerations. Let's get these out. That's the second option. The last one here, and this is a Type 63 Chicon rig. These can fit in here. These are not considered ammo pouches, but they do fit in here. I'd say, honestly, try and get this in. Little tent. Again, like so, you can put them in upside down as well. Just bear in mind, for this, okay, if you see on this model here, hopefully you can see that, that can be a little bit difficult in here, but not too much. These fit in here as well, in all 5 of them. Again, you can turn them around whichever way you want to, upside down, again, preference. And these ones you can fit in, same as this, upside down if you want to, or whichever way you want. However, it's not the easiest to put in, so I'm going to try my best here. You have to obviously fiddle around with it a little bit more. Obviously once these are stretched out and used a bit more, should be easier. So don't hold me to it, but as you can see the difference now. Okay, both in. These do fit in all 5 of the main ammo pouches, as well as the 2 additional ones. You can close this particular mag. Give me a second. On the other ones, it can be a little bit tricky depending. These ones, these mags, you can't close at all, so you can put them behind and easy enough to grab out. These ones, not so much, depending again, like I said, variation in rigs, so you might want to consider something to help pull them out. So that's the third option. And that's it really, so let me show you the shooting test. Apologies about today, it is very windy. It's nice and sunny, but it is windy and likely there will be cars in the background, so I do apologise. You can see there's a target in my background. Yes, there is a log in it as well to support it. It is windy. So yeah, I'm going to shoot this today, and I'm wearing my Desert Fleck Tarn trousers, my DPM smock, my check field cap, and yeah, I'm going to have some fun. So the first thing I'm going to shoot is 0.2s. Enjoy. So you saw me shoot 0.2s for the first part. Now for the second one I'm going to shoot 2.8, again 30 meters roughly, again same format as before with the first test, and yeah, enjoy. So the final part, what do I think of the HK33 by Classic Army? Now this has got a nice weight feel to it. It's not too heavy, it's not too light and completely plastic. This is sturdy. This is full metal and polymer here, I believe here and here. This is a rubber butt plate. So let's go into the cons first. Let's get the negatives out of the way. So this is Honey Badger's, and he's had this for a number of years. I'd say, like you said, the butt plate could be a bit of an issue, but that was just due to an accident. I'd say my next thing, preference again for slings. I wouldn't recommend this sling. Go with something simple, easy enough. But my major con, I would say, for this, not even major, I'd say it's a minor, is getting used to the mags, because if you get the angle wrong, it does become a little bit difficult and frustrating, but like I said, with practice, that's easy enough. Internally, you can upgrade these things. Be aware though, with certain airsoft companies, obviously, those that are older and not the latest and greatest companies, finding parts may be compatible, but if they need to have their own, you may have the issue of finding them in your own country. You might have to buy abroad, and that could be the only downside. So Classic Army parts, I had a look recently, briefly. Certain parts I had to look into Europe or buying from Asia, so, or even America, don't get me wrong, but you've got to consider these things. But no, other than that, would I recommend this? Yes. It may be underrated being Classic Army and not an LCT model at the current moment, but I would recommend this for a beginner. Would I recommend it for an advanced player? Yes. Would I recommend it for a collector? Yes. But again, it's preference at the end of the day, and I had fun reviewing this, and hopefully Honey Badger, I did a great job. And honestly, if I had one of these, I wouldn't complain. So that is my review on the Classic Army HK33. Now, before I finish, what's going to happen is I'm going to put some outtakes at the end of me doing this whole review. Like I said, it takes a number of takes for me to try and get this right as best as I can. So yeah, that's it really. So like, comment, share and subscribe. Don't forget to click the little bell icon so you know when the next video is. I enjoyed making this video. I look forward to making the next video. The most important thing you can do is stay safe. Why are you doing this to me now? Why are you not working now? A good feature as well, if you don't want to keep tying it up, just grab this simple setup, belt clips here, and easy enough to assemble. I say easy enough, I just broke the damn thing. Great.